I'll deliver all 14 points for you. Here they are. Something happened to you that has never occurred in the entire recorded history of spiritual law. Not once in thousands of years of divine record keeping has a soul endured what you endured and remained completely unbroken. Someone opened their mouth and released a storm of lies against you. They built a case out of nothing. They handed that fabricated case to people you trusted, to circles you belonged to spaces you had helped create, and yet you did not collapse, you did not retaliate. You stood still, in silence, while the false fire burned around you. That stillness was not weakness, that was power so rare. Heaven stopped to look. Since the beginning of spiritual civilization, there has existed one law that governs all realms, the law of sacred truth. Under this law, slander is not merely a human offense, it is a cosmic crime. When lies are spoken against an innocent soul, the universe itself registers the violation. It is written into the fabric of existence. Spiritual historians have recorded millions of cases where souls crumbled under false accusation, where they fought back with anger, where they abandoned their values. But what you did has no precedent. You absorbed the poison of their words and refused to become poisonous yourself. That response broke every pattern in the celestial archive. Now think carefully about a decision you made recently. Perhaps it was small in human eyes. Maybe you chose not to expose someone who hurt you. Maybe you stayed quiet when speaking out would have served your ego beautifully. Maybe you forgave without being asked. Or you protected someone's dignity even though they had threatened yours. That moment was not coincidence. The universe had been building toward it, testing whether your integrity was situational or absolute. It placed that exact moral crossroads in front of you deliberately, and when you chose honor over revenge, something in the spiritual atmosphere shifted. A file was open. Your name was written in a different kind of record. You were never alone during those dark seasons, while the lies spread and the whispers grew louder. Something else was happening in the unseen world. Forces both dark and divine were watching you. With complete attention, the dark ones were waiting for you to break, to retaliate, to become what they needed you to become so they could justify their accusations. The divine ones were watching to see if you were truly what the record suggested. Every room you walked into was observed. Every private moment of pain was witnessed. Every tear you swallowed in silence was counted. Nothing about your trial was random. You were under surveillance because you mattered enough to be tested. Remember when they lied about your character and you chose not to defend yourself publicly. Even though every human instinct screamed at you to fight, that was the first test. Remember when someone you had genuinely helped turned against you and used your vulnerabilities as weapons. You felt the betrayal so deeply it nearly destroyed you. Yet you did not destroy them in return. That was the second test. Remember when the environment itself seemed to turn hostile, when opportunities dried up and people distanced themselves based on false information. You kept moving with quiet dignity. Each of those moments was a divine examination. Each time you passed, the record was updated with something extraordinary. In the celestial classification system, souls are ranked not by power or gifts, but by what they do when falsely accused and surrounded by darkness. Most souls, even powerful ones, eventually retaliate. They compromise their integrity when the pain becomes unbearable. They become versions of the very people who wronged them, but you maintained your moral architecture under conditions designed to demolish it. This makes you extraordinarily rare. In divine terminology, a soul that survives slander without becoming a slanderer is classified as dangerous. Not dangerous to the innocent, but dangerous to every system built on deception. Your mere existence threatens lies. You are a living refutation. Thought at the moment your silence defeated their loudest accusations. Something extraordinary occurred beyond human perception. The archangels assigned to the realm of justice gathered. This is not metaphor. In the architecture of divine law, when a soul endures false judgment and maintains absolute integrity, a formal witnessing is required. God observed not just your actions, but the full condition of your heart, every hidden motive, every suppressed anger, every quiet prayer you offered when you had every reason to curse. All of it was seen completely. The divine witness was not passive observation, it was sacred testimony. What God saw in you in that moment became evidence in a case you did not know was being built on your behalf. That then came the decree, not announced with thunder, not written in the sky, but released as a quiet and irreversible activation in the spiritual realm. The universe issued a formal declaration concerning your identity and your future. It stated that all false judgments spoken against you were hereby nullified in the record of truth. It stated that every door closed by slander would be reopened through divine rerouting. It stated that the very people and systems that tried to erase you would become instruments of your elevation. This decree did not require your permission or awareness. It was simply executed because you had earned it through endurance. The universe had rendered its verdict and it was entirely in your favor. You are not who they said you were. You are not even fully who you believed yourself to be before this trial. What has been revealed through your endurance is something ancient and powerful. You carry the soul signature of a celestial warrior, not one who fights with aggression, but one whose very stillness dismantles corruption. You have walked this earth before in different times, in different bodies, always chosen for the same purpose. To demonstrate that truth is stronger than narrative, that integrity outlasts accusation, that light cannot be permanently buried by darkness. The slander was not an accident of your life, it was the precise mechanism by which your true identity was forced to the surface. You were meant to be revealed this way. Now that your identity has been activated, your mission becomes clear. You are here to anchor something the world is desperately short of: incorruptible integrity, not the performance of righteousness, but the real, costly, quiet kind that survives when no one is watching and nothing is being rewarded. You are assigned to exist as proof that a human being can be falsely accused, deeply wounded, and socially damaged, and still choose not to weaponize their pain. Every person who witnesses your life and wonders how you remained whole will be changed by that question. Your mission is not to preach. It is to live in a way that forces people to reckon with the possibility of a higher standard. Watch what begins to happen now. The material world will start to reorganize around your activated purpose. Resources that were blocked will begin moving in your direction. Relationships that were poisoned by slander will either be purified or replaced by connections of a higher quality. Opportunities will emerge from directions you never considered because the divine decree reroutes your path away from spaces that were built on false foundations. Financial alignments, creative openings, platform expansions, unexpected recognition. These are not luck. They are the natural consequence of a spiritual verdict being executed in your physical reality. The universe does not issue decrees without following them with provision. Your season of restoration has already begun, but your awakening will not stop with you. Something about the way you carry yourself now, with that quiet certainty of someone who has been vindicated by forces beyond human court, will disturb the dormancy in others. People around you will begin to feel uncomfortable with their compromises. They will start asking questions they had buried. They will find the courage to stop performing and start living with actual integrity because they watched you do it first. You will not need to teach or evangelize. Your presence will function as a spiritual frequency. Those who are meant to awaken will feel it when they enter your environment. You are not just being restored. You are being made into a catalyst. You are not alone in this experience. Across every continent right now, thousands of souls are completing the same trial. You just survived. They were slandered. They were misunderstood. They endured in silence. And they are being activated in this same season, each one carrying a specific piece of a larger restoration that the world urgently needs. You are part of a global network of integrity carriers who found each other not through organization, but through spiritual frequency. When these souls begin operating in their full activation simultaneously, the effect on collective human consciousness will be measurable. Systems built on deception will begin to destabilize. Truth will become harder to suppress. You are one node in a network that is just beginning to come online. But if this reached the deepest part of you, Do not let it pass in silence. Comment the number 777 below right now. It is the ancient symbol of divine completion, and placing it here is your declaration that you have received this truth and accepted your activation. Share this with someone who has been falsely accused and is still waiting for vindication. They need to know the lawsuit is already filed in their name. Subscribe so that what comes next in this series finds you, because the next message is already being prepared for you specifically. And stay until the very end of everything being released in this